Hey guys, just give you a little bit of update of what's going on. Of course, the class was supposed to begin Wednesday or Thursday. Unfortunately, they're still not ready, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do some other things in that time. I think there is a Unit 1 that we can actually start looking at. One of the things, though, that you need to be doing right now is finishing up your game. Yesterday, really, you should have had it all ready to be published. I did get a couple of games yesterday. I know there's one person that had an issue with his code. I'm going to try to come look at that today. But once your game is finished, it should look something like this. And you're going to have some code in it, several lines. Just make sure that when you run your code, it works. Make sure that it has maybe some intros to it, give some ideas, a breakdown of what's here. And then, of course, make sure that you can play it. And so you can see that this game here is a game based on time. The game is basically saying, hey, how many points can I get in the amount of time? And I think I gave it 120 seconds. And then it says play again if I want. But once you get done with your game and you're happy with it, you can share that game. And there will be a little button up here that says publish in your case. You would hit publish. This is the link to my game. I do want you to email it to me using your email account at school. Just highlight it, open up your school mail account. So if you haven't logged on to your Microsoft Office 365 account, you really do need to start using it because that's going to be a place that we store documents and things like that. But in the email, you would just hit new. You would type my email address in, jeff.coots@jacksonind.kyschools.us. Please make sure you give a line here that says Jim's game, Bob's video game, and then make sure you paste that URL. So going back to this right here, I'm going to copy. I would paste. And then I would send. And like I said, the other two I've actually work pretty well to look at. So once that's done, once you've got your game, we need to really think about what gaming is. Gaming is not just, and game programming is one thing, but building a game is another. So what you need to do is think about what the game is all about. So part of the lesson today, and this is the final day for you to build, but you need to start thinking about this day, okay? And what I'm going to do is probably put all these questions, I'm going to put it in a Word document. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to find, let me go back, click, I want to hit read more because I want to see it on full screen. Well, still did. And it came on, but we need to get rid of that. Okay, so here's like several questions that you really need to do, okay? You need to break down your game. It's your job to break it down before you can play it. And really and truthfully, you should have some ideas before you even start building a game. You know, like what I want to see and does it work? But we also need to understand if you follow through all those lessons, can you break it down? So here, what's the game about? Give me a little bit of detail about what's going on. Give me some background about your characters. I know the one I chose Mario, and based on the characteristics of the game that when I went through it, I had to make some modifications and changes. But basically, he's collecting points for mushrooms and trying to dodge the random shells that are coming at him. Why did I want to create it? I love Mario. I think Mario is a great game, and I think kids will relate to it, and that could have been something. What are some of the objects of the game? Of course, the board, the characters. Talk about that. What are some of the functions of the game? What are some of the parameters? For instance, like if I click the button, Mario, he accelerates or deaccelerates. The mushrooms are moving at so much speed. And what do they do, and why are they there? Does the function return an object? For instance, like if the function is this, it returns this. For instance, one of the things may be a board size or something like that. What are the dimensions of your game? Well, my game, I believe, was 800 by 400, and I think that's what they asked for, but you can make it different based on your background. Where did I place my character? And there's some questions that you need to think about. For instance, I think this one right here. Why would you might not want to place a character at 0 to 200? Why wouldn't you? Think about it and then answer that. And then there's questions about the events, conditions, and if then are very important. Like I said, I'm going to build a Word document that has this, and I want you to actually answer these questions in the Word document. You can either cut and paste, you can type, but then you will email me that because that is very important. But like I was getting to the if-then statements or the conditional statements, you know, what were some conditionals in your game? For instance, in my game, if Mario, or this is an overlaps, I guess, but if Mario is overlapped with a mushroom, he gets so many points, and they continue to cycle. And the same thing, if he hits a mushroom, game over. And so those are some of the things and obstacles I just talked about. And publishing, you know, how do you publish a game? We need to know how to publish it and so forth. And what's the difference between publish and publish hidden? I mean, that's very simple, but still, you need to know that based on this. Did the games meet your standards? I'll be honest, I would have wished Mario could move left and right, up and down, but, you know, based on the functionality of what we were taught during this part, that's all we could do. Did you have fun doing it? I mean, I really did. I sat and I redid it over and over, and I really didn't pay much attention to the time, and I looked for other things beyond this because I put a timer in mine, and I don't remember seeing a timer in the game. What would you wish you could do more if program would have, and I already said maybe moving up and down, left and right. That would make the game more interesting to me. Could you build another game without directions? I believe I could, and this is some of the things that you should think about. Could I do it? Could you read someone else's code? I believe I could read somebody else's code. That's me, but could you do it? Maybe you'd have to go back and look things, but be honest with yourself. And below here are a couple games that you can see. For instance, I'll give you a look at, well, you already saw mine, and it loads up. You can run it. You can actually open it up and touch development and start editing it. You can create a new one, okay? And so I think that would be something that you might want to look at, and that's how we can look at some people's code and so forth. But back to this, we do have Timmy Warnes and Matt Coots is here too, and so you can see their games. Click run. I do want you to play them. I wish everybody's would have been turned in so that we could actually start playing, because you're going to actually play the game and give just a little bit of feedback on the game, because what you would want to do is make sure that in the game it's interesting, and give them some feedback that would be positive. And so here, notice I ran into it looks like a mine or something. Game's over, but I got 18 points, and then I can play again. And I really like that because it keeps my score and so forth. So hopefully you've had fun building your first game. For upcoming parts, I can tell you right now that these questions that you're going to be answering also will be helpful for you, because you need to understand these things, because you will be quizzed over these. And you may have to look at some code and break down that code, so go back and look at yours. The other piece, too, is that you're probably going to do a part of your assessment will be to build a game. So be able to build a game, a simple game based on some characteristics that I may give. For instance, I may say create a background that's 800 by 400, add a character, have some things coming at the character, having be able to jump up and down, dodge some things, and then be able to submit and play the game, of course. So hopefully this has been interesting to you, and hopefully you've enjoyed this first part. I know that the class now is starting to look at paperwork, but game designers have to think. They have to become thinkers of their own game. So that's just part of the overall thing. So while you guys are working, I think I'll try out some of these games back here. And like I said, when you guys get all yours, it'll be your first game. We'll push it and stuff out. And again, we know that these had their limitations, but there are some good games. And like I said, I'm very proud of each and every one of you that have completed yours. And I look forward to seeing you others in the class.